Hey guys, it's Haps, and in today's video, I'm going to be bringing you Draft versus Episode 3. But before we get into this episode, let's just quickly recap what happened in Draft versus Episode 2. Because I actually was lucky enough to have the #1 pick in that, and somehow the Leopard made it through the vetoes, and that was my pick, and it got me my very first win of the Draft versus series. However, I wanted to mix things up this time, so this is the draft from this episode. Now, everything in green is something that I selected, everything in white was pre-selected, and I would like to know what you guys think down in the comments below, because there are some pretty rogue selections in here, most notably the manatee. Now, I chose the manatee thinking I could select banana. It was a complete oversight by me because there was no slots to choose food, and we didn't even choose food last time. I just, for some reason, thought I could select banana. Manatee, banana, easy access to monkey, I thought I was good. Turns out it was a complete waste of a pick. This time, my #1 pick was actually the Highland cow, and I was going to partner that up with the wildebeest. So I wonder how that one's going to go. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. If you do, maybe like and subscribe. But with all of that said, let's jump in. And we're going to be jumping in with some more post-commentary because, well, one, you guys really enjoyed the last post-commentary video. Thank you so much for all the nice comments. Hopefully this one lives up to expectations. But also, these draft versus games, they lend themselves to post-commentary because we actually have a Discord running in the background while we're recording, and we talk utter rubbish in that. And actually editing around that is nigh on impossible. I mean, you'd have seen my efforts in the last episode. It probably took as long to edit that as it did to record. So I thought what I would do is do some post-commentary for Game 4 here, give my perspective of how this goes. And yeah, hopefully it's a little bit cleaner and more fluid than the last episode. Now, the first two turns here, I've just been speaking over the top of because we don't really do anything different than what we would typically do in Arena. I'm picking up beaver, I'm picking up duck because they have nice sell abilities. They just give stats. But I guess actually my team, you would have seen in the draft, has a few buy-sell pets in there. I kind of wanted to go around that synergy. So picking up pets that have sell abilities wasn't actually the worst idea. But we get lucky here. We level into dog really early. So we sell the duck to give extra health to those on the bench. We bring in the dog first, obviously, and then we bring in the shrimp, give some stats to the dog, and then we bring in the chinchilla. Now, the chinchilla is so huge for us because it gives the dog stats twice, and it also allows the shrimp to distribute stats twice. The chinchilla is such a big pet, and is half the reason why I decided to run some buy-sell strategies in the early stages of all of the games that I basically played throughout this evening. So you can see here, I've got a dog, and also Flame has a dog, because by Game 4, we realized how cracked the dog really was. And I wouldn't be surprised if it either gets vetoed or completely removed from the pack next time. But we've got the beaver here. I did think about selling the beaver here, but we level up and we bring in the Emperor Tamarin. Or do we? Yeah, we do bring in the Emperor Tamarin. Probably another rogue pick in the draft. Honestly, getting the Emperor Tamarin working is quite tricky, but I thought because I've got buy-sell, I'm going to be adding a lot of stats in the early stages, and getting the Emperor Tamarin early seems like not a bad shout to bring it in and try and get some of those stats onto it. As you can see here, not many of them hit the Emperor Tamarin. A lot of them get kind of distributed around, but we do have a massive dog once again. The dog stats are temporary, so we will lose the dog stats at the end of each turn. But if we're buying and selling, the dog should basically replenish those stats and we basically have a pretty strong pet for the most of the early game. So we sell the lemur here. We don't need it. We do have the garlic, which was actually pretty nice there. We bring in the dog. We combine. We bring it in first to get the stats, and then we combine. You don't want to buy it straight onto the previous dog. Chinchilla, as I said, is a bit of a hero in these early rounds. You bring it in. We're getting double health from the shrimp. We actually got double stack stats on the dog, as I said before. And are we gonna bring in another shrimp? Okay, 3 shrimps, turn 5. Wait a second. What are we doing here? Are we gonna combine? We do combine, and then we bring in the owl. Okay. I kind of like that. We could have kept the shrimp separate, but I guess combining them, maybe we would have found a decent tier 4. Clearly, we didn't like those tier 4s that we found. So we brought in the owl because it will spawn a mouse, and obviously when a mouse spawns, it will give the dog stats, plus we can sell the mouse. The shrimp will provide stats. So again, just kind of building around this buy-sell, because again, the owl is one of those pets that I picked up in the draft. It does mean that we have to run a 4 squad, but a 4 squad with a dog, which is pretty stacked at the front, makes a lot of sense. Okay, so I made a mistake here. Everything that I was saying earlier about you have to bring the dog in, then combine. What did I just do there? I just immediately combined. I guess it's a good example of what not to do. So we missed out on a couple of stats there by doing that. Now we've got the problem here of having 5 pets in the squad and an owl. You need to have 4. So we just sell the owl, we bring in one of those Emperor Tamarins. We do that just to get some more stats on this dog. It's hard to pass up on turtle, to be honest. So kind of, we basically replace the owl strategy here to bring in the turtle for the early melon. And dog with a 16-18 and early melon is pretty strong. And you can see it pretty much takes out the whole of GroundedSAP's team. It's a really strong start. We're 7 hearts still, and we started with 7 hearts. That was the base stats that we had. And we bring in the Emperor Tamarin, we level up, and we level into Poodle and Scorpion. Now, I thought about bringing in Scorpion here, but to be honest, this team is built around getting stats. So I bring in the Poodle. We get more stats onto the dog. Now, I don't have space to bring in that Emperor Tamarin. You know, you lose out on some dog stats, but I'm just going to add it to the Emperor Tamarin here. We need a pill for this turtle, honestly. The turtle being there is great, but it would be nice to pill the turtle, open up another space so that we can buy and sell, because at the moment we just don't have any space. Okay, we take down SuperAutoGaming. We find a pill. Do we pill now or do we hold? We do pill now. Okay, so we pill onto the dog. We buy, sell the crow, another one of those pets that I picked up. Again, really nice for buy, sell. And we actually get the Emperor Tamarin 3 here. Are we going to make the same mistake again? No, we're not going to bring it in this time. So I'm actually going to hold out for one more turn because I want to level up on turn 9. We could still bring it in, but we're going to bring in the crow instead. Okay, I mean, it makes sense. We can sell the crow next time. And then hopefully we get some of those shrimp stats put onto the Emperor Tamarin. We also then have a level up for whatever we level the Emperor Tamarin into. But we get another win. We're still on 7 hearts, mind. So this was part of my strategy, was to really kind of push early game, keep the hearts, and then make a late game pivot. So we get the chocolate, we hold that, we bring in the Emperor Tamarin, we make the same mistake. We make the same mistake again. We should be bringing it into that empty slot, getting the extra stats on the dog, and then leveling up. So again, that is a very simple mistake that I could have done better with. And I'm looking at both Dragon and Mammoth here, and I'm actually not sure what to bring in, because I considered bringing in Dragon and then buying and selling with Dragon, which makes a lot of sense if you've got the dog. But when you actually look at some of the tier 6 pets that I've got later down the line, I sort of need to have a full squad that is scaling. And Dragon didn't quite fit that. So I decided not to go with the Dragon. I thought there's going to be better scaling options a little bit later on. Whether that was a mistake or not, I guess we'll find out. But I do bring in the Mammoth just for the extra stats. And we managed to get one over on SuperAutoGaming here. So we've got 7 hearts to the 4. And then I think everybody else has got 3 after that. So this is where I'm thinking, I'm thinking about what I do with this Emperor Tamarin. Do we sell? I was about to sell it onto the Rhino, but we level the Poodle into Highland Cow. Now, getting extra stats on Highland Cow seems like a really nice idea, especially when the ability scales off of the health. I'm selling Shrimp here. What am I doing here? Is this to bring in Highland Cow and then put stats onto the Rhino? I don't understand why I would sell. I mean, yeah, this must be it. This must be it. We're going to bring in Highland Cow, and then we're going to hold the Rhino, and we're going to roll down, and then what are we doing next? Are we ending turn there? Why are we... Interesting. Okay. I mean, I probably would have sold the Emperor Tamarin there and brought in the Rhino, give our dog more stats. I'm not really sure why I waited a turn. Maybe because I wanted the stats of the Poodle to go onto the Emperor Tamarin. Maybe that was half the reason for it. I'm not quite sure. But either way, maybe I'm actually looking for a better pet to put the Emperor Tamarin stats onto. And I think that might be what I'm saying here is I'm looking for a different pet, but I decide to put it onto Rhino. And the reason I actually bring in Rhino here, which seems a little strange, unless you've seen some of the other videos. If you've seen some of the other videos by some of the other guys, you'll probably understand why Rhino's coming in here, because a lot of people were running summon squads, especially Flame. Flame had a pretty crazy summon strategy, and the best way to counter it was to have a Rhino in your squad. So that is the sole reason for having this Rhino. There's no other reason, was to just counter Flame, because Flame was actually pretty tricky to play around in previous games. Remember, this is game 4. So we bring in the Rhino here, we put the stats onto the Rhino, And then we have the turtle at the front. Again, I'm going to be looking for a pill for this turtle. What is it, turn 11? We want to pill this turtle because we want to have that extra space again. I mean, the buying and selling, we can't really buy and sell anymore. There's no room. We got no pets that actually, apart from the dog, I guess. The dog is still going to scale off of buying and selling, but we don't actually have any of the other buy and sells. And here we go. Here's the power of the rhino. Get the stats on the rhino, and it can actually wipe out the opposing team. So I'm looking for pill. I'm looking for pill for this turtle. We've got no room in which we can scale this dog, as I said, because we have this turtle in the way. I'm going to hold tiger. Can't remember why I'm holding tiger. I think I want to bring tiger in behind the rhino. I think that's the plan here. We bring it in. Gives us a little extra stats on the dog. And do we move the tiger or do we leave it there? Do we leave it behind the Highland cow or do we move it? We move it behind the rhino, which makes some sense. Am I going to change my mind? Are we going to leave it behind the rhino or are we going to put it behind the Highland cow? I mean, I can see reasoning for both, right? You get extra sniping damage from the rhino by having it behind the rhino, which means that you could potentially increase your chances of wiping out the opposing team. Or we can bring down a bigger golden retriever having it behind the Highland cow. I mean, both make sense. I think thinking back, maybe I'd have preferred it behind the rhino. Good job we didn't because we only got one hit from the rhino. And here we go. We take our first loss. So the other guys are actually starting to catch up now. And we're kind of just sat here with this turtle. We need to remove the turtle. I want to bring in the T-Rex for some scaling. I think about the anglerfish here. And I think about what they had. And I bring it in. And bingo, we find the leopard. Rev had the leopard. And this is jackpot because this is a #1 pick. This was my #1 pick in episode 2. And I was praying that I would get the anglerfish into Rev's leopard at some point. Bearing in mind, I have also got the T-Rex, which is going to be perfect for leopard scaling. So all I need now is a pill. And I've been saying it since turn 11. All I need now is a pill. So as soon as we find pill, we can pill the turtle onto this rhino. And then we can bring the leopard in. And I'm hoping then the leopard will be able to carry us. But you can see here, this is what Flame was doing for pretty much most of the game and actually dominating. And we're still not big enough to take Flame down. So we're slowly starting to dwindle our hearts. We got the Highland cow. We bring in the Highland cow. Yeah, looking for pill. It's like showing exactly what I'm looking for. We got the tiger. We bring it in. I mean, all I want to do here is roll for pill. Still no pill. Got the T-Rex. Would be nice. I even considered selling the turtle, I'll be honest. I even considered selling it, but we don't have melon. There's no melon in the pack to put straight on, and the value of having melon is huge. So while the turtle's there, it just felt like a waste to get rid of it. But we come up against Sag here, and the octopus is kind of crazy. Does a lot of damage, and there's a lot of stats on that squad because of the stego with the tiger. And yeah, takes me down. So that is 3 losses back to back. We bring in T-Rex. There's a lot of chocolate here. There's a Highland cow. There's another chocolate. I bring in the Highland cow. I hold the chocolate in case I get to bring in the leopard. But for every turn that we don't bring in the leopard, we're not scaling it. And for every turn that we don't find a pill, we've just got a turtle at the front, kind of wasting stats. But we come up against Flame again here. And again, I'm hoping my rhino's big enough. But again, just constantly these summons just kept coming out. It's like it's just an onslaught. It's an onslaught that doesn't stop. And we're down to 3. That is 4 losses back to back. So we bring in the chocolate. Funny enough, we find another Highland cow. I'm going to hold on to this leopard until we find a pill. No pill, another chocolate. So this will either go on to, I mean, we could go on to rhino, we could go on to tiger, we could go on to T-Rex. All of them valid options. I mean, look, there you go. See, I'm actually kind of pointing which ones I would quite happily put it onto. We put it onto the T-Rex because I think just scaling is king. We roll, we find a tiger, but guess what? No pill. Honestly, the pill is pretty much the story of this run because we are slowly losing hearts, and unless we can actually get something else in, we're just going to be wasting stats on that turtle, and it's going to come to a point where that's going to be really dangerous for us. Anyway, we come up against Sag's clone, and Sag beat us last time with the stats from that stego, and it's the same story. 7 down to 2. It is not going our way. So we bring in the tiger. We bring in the rhino. We've now only got 4 rolls for a pill. We roll, we roll, we roll, we roll again, and again, nothing. No pill. So we go into this turn. Not a lot has changed. We come up against Flame, and luckily, we actually tear through most of Flame's team with the rhino. And again, the rhino goes at it again. And this time, we finally get the better of Flame. And unfortunately, we knock Flame out. But it does keep us in the game. And now it's just a head-to-head between us and Sag. And Sag has beaten me, I don't know how many times in the last couple of times we faced each other. But we can't seem to get past the Stego stats with the Tiger behind. But that's a really nice level up on the Tiger. It gives that Rhino just that little extra boost. But guess what? No pill. And I'm looking at Sag's team and I'm trying to figure out if there's anything that I can do in terms of repositioning to somehow get one up on him, to somehow get ahead of the game. But I don't see any difference right now. I'm just thinking I need to do more with the Rhino. See, we're 3 short of being able to take out the Octopus there. And again, that makes the difference. We bring down the 31, it gets taken out, and we go down to 1. And at this point, I'm thinking, I've got no hope. I've gone 8 rounds not finding a pill, and I'm trying to think, how can I otherwise beat Sag? And the only thing that I can think is I need to do something with this. Oh, we finally find the pill. We finally find the pill. So we pill the turtle, and I'm thinking, it's too late for the leopard now. The leopard game plan was like 10 turns ago when we found it, something like that. The plan was to bring it in, scale it up, and do some serious damage. We've held it that whole time, and it's just too late. It's just too late to bring it in. So I'm actually thinking the only thing that I can do here is probably, after taking 8 rounds to pill it, bring in another turtle. We bring in another turtle. We actually rearrange our squad slightly so that the turtle actually then go. I mean, it could go behind the rhino. That'll be fine. But then those stats would go onto the tiger. But we bring in the turtle just to give us a few more hits. And this time, we're able to take down the octopus and keep our rhino alive. And the important thing is the rhino then breaks the melon and gives us the draw. And that draw is pivotal because what that actually allows us to do is scale a little bit more, whereas Sag doesn't have any scaling. Sag is pretty much set, and I mean, the Stego is obviously providing some scaling each turn, but we have the T-Rex and we're able to continue to scale. And I actually add the chocolate to the rhino here rather than the T-Rex because I just think the extra stats that are going to come from the rhino, snipes from the rhino is going to weaken his stats. And then I do something kind of crazy here. I actually replace the steak with this mushroom, because what this will allow me to do is this will give me 1 additional melon. Because at the moment, the problem I've got is the snipes from the Octo and the stats from the Stego are wiping me out. But if I can give myself just one more hit over Sag, maybe we might be able to swing the balance of the fight. So rather than actually having the steak, which I think was quite useful. It allowed us to do some decent damage onto the mammoth. I don't actually know if it allowed us to take out the mammoth, but the extra melon protects us from some of these snipes. And I believe this time round, the tiger now survives and we managed to get a win. And now it is a straight head-to-head. So I level the T-Rex just for some extra stats. And from this point on, I don't really think that there's much more I can do. So I'm looking at Cupcake thinking, maybe I just buy the Cupcake here. I'm looking at his team thinking, what can he do to rearrange? Those Stego stats are always going to go onto that parrot, so I know that they're going to be hitting there. And I don't think he changes his team too much from here. Like, I'm still looking at it, trying to figure out whether there is something that he could do differently, but he's always going to want the mammoth at the front just to give as much stats as possible to the pets behind. And then I think the team pretty much plays itself out the same after that. So I'm rolling through here. There's not really much I can do. I didn't buy the Cupcake, clearly. I think I'm rolling through to put something on the T-Rex at the back. I think I'm looking for Mushroom here. Because what I'm thinking is, if the T-Rex faces off against something at the back, a Mushroom might be able to clutch it out for us. But we don't find a Mushroom. Time is ticking down. So I'm just going to roll through and see if we can find Mushroom now, just in case we end up drawing. And we do find it. We do find it. But I think it might be a little bit too late for that anyway. So we go into this fight. And yep, similar order, but actually he's moved the tiger and he's put it behind the skunk. And that's a really interesting play because it weakens me down, and I'm actually a little bit concerned here, and I think that makes the difference. But we get the draw, and just, that was so close. That was so close, but we get the draw. So what do? I bring in the mushroom. We actually get an opportunity to bring in the mushroom. Funny enough, I find double chocolate. We're going to start stacking it on the rhino, and then we send it. Now, having the mushroom at the back is possibly going to be the most clutch play that I've ever played, because we come up against Sag and we know it's a close fight. We know we're pretty much drawing. We did 26 damage last time on his back tiger, only just taking it down. So it's a similar battle. We bring in the dog, and there it is. The mushroom on the T-Rex makes the difference. And honestly, this was such a close fight. We went from having 7 hearts all the way down to 2 hearts because everybody else pivoted much stronger than we did. Then our pivot started to take pace, and we just had to find a balancing act against Sag, and we managed to somehow do it. And before I close out, I just want to say a big thank you to Grounded, who organized this whole thing. It's truly insane what he does. And also to Flame, Rev, and Sag. You guys are awesome. I had a great evening doing this. Go check out their channels. They will be posting videos of other games that we played that evening. It's always good to get a different perspective. But for now, I'm going to be closing out. This was a one take, and it is as raw as it can be. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, maybe like and subscribe. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.